Hi everyone, Joe here. Welcome back to my channel. Hi to everybody that usually stops by, and for those of you that just stumbled on me, my name is Joe, and I do a lot of decorating videos, especially seasonal stuff, and things around the house that I hope you can find useful. Hey, by the way, I've been looking at my analytics, and I noticed that a majority of the people who watch me are not subscribed to my channel. So if you just stumbled on me, why don't you please consider subscribing? I'm trying to make my channel grow, and it would really help me out a lot if you would do that and give me a thumbs up so that I can move into more people's news feeds. So in today's video, I'm going to be working in the entryway, in the foyer, in an area above the front door and below the palladium window. Now, for those of you that live in a Central Hall Colonial, many of you have that same problem. There's a space in between there, and you just don't know what to put in there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do some millwork in there to try to make the door and the window more of a cohesive unit. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be talking you through it as we go along. All right, everybody, hold on. Okay, so like many of us that have these Central Hall Colonial houses, and we have our door, our entry door, and the palladium window above, there's that space in between the top of the door and the palladium window that is kind of like an area that we don't really know how to fix that to make a more cohesive look. So what I did was I did hang those 4 pictures there between the 2 of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to architecturally join the door with the palladium window. And I'm planning to do that by enhancing the top of the door with molding, as well as the space in between the top of the door and the bottom of the palladium window. So we're going to start by enhancing the top of the door first. Okay, so as you can see, I removed the pictures that were there. And what I did was I took out the hooks and I used some fast drying spackle to fill in those holes and get that all prepped and ready for what I'm going to do there. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to beef up the top of this door right here. I'm going to add molding up here to make this a little bit more dramatic, I guess is the word. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this very skinny piece of molding on the top of the casing of the door. So I measured my door. It's 68 inches from one end to the other end, and I want this to hang over a 1/4 inch on each side, so I cut this at 68 1/2. So I'm going to cut this and then tack it in. And by the way, this is about 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay, so next I'm going to use, this is a baseboard molding, and it is, let me see here if I can work with one hand while I'm holding this camera. You can see it's about 5 1/4 inches thick. Now, normally it would obviously go like that, but I'm going to install it with this down, so it'll give like this decorative edge, along the top of the door, and then this for the next part that I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this to size, 68 inches, and then tack it up. Okay, so you can see so far, here is that strip that I put on between the top of the door jamb. Here is this, I nailed this in from the top. And then here is that piece of molding that I turned upside down to give this decorative edge right here. And then what I did was, with my stud finder, I located the studs on the wall, and then I just put in 4 nails along the top of this piece into the studs. Okay, so now the next piece I'm going to add is, this is actually a piece of chair railing, but I think it has a lot of nice detail. And I actually have this over the other doors in this foyer, over the closets. And also this is the chair railing in this room, so it'll coordinate all together. It is about almost 4 inches thick. And I'm going to overlay this right on top of that piece I did. Now, what I want to do here is I'm going to miter the corners here because I want it to wrap around that piece of baseboard molding that I put up there. All right, so I'm going to start by mitering this corner first, and then I can measure it. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to miter this in, and now I draw the direction on it because you can easily get disoriented and cut it the wrong way. So the corner is going to come this way. Then I have to measure 68 inches from this side, not this side, the inside, to the opposite end where I'm going to miter in the opposite direction like this, right? Because we want to have a corner on it. So I'm going to cut this first and then measure my 68 inches. Okay, so see how that came out? I cut that at a 45-degree angle, so now I can turn in. But what I have to do now is I have to measure from the inside corner here to the opposite end, my 68 inches, and then miter out. Okay, so you see from the inside corner over to now the other end, and I actually asked my wife Mary Ann to hold the tape measure for me because you know what, you can only cut once. So we measured it twice or 3 times, and we're going to have one cut. So here's the 68-inch mark right here. Now I drew again my miter line because remember I have to come out in the opposite direction, and I don't want to cut in and then I ruin my whole piece and then this is garbage. I can't use it. So this is the moment of truth right here. So I'm going to cut from this point outward now. Okay, so I made the return piece. So you can see it's a really small piece, and what this will do is it will, finish the edge. Let me try to show you. You see it's going to go right in here. I can't hold it right, but it returns. Okay, so it's going to go like right here. See, here's the end, and then it's going to come in here. I'm having a hard time holding it and showing you at the same time. This is always the toughest part, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue this into that side. Okay, so before we go any further, I did a little drawing here to just show you kind of what I'm doing. So I'm working on the space between the top of the door and the bottom of the palladium window. So far what you've seen me do is this represents what I did. The extra moldings here on top of the door just to beef that up a little bit. So now we have this space in between. Here's the palladium window and here's the top of the door. So I'm working in this space right here just to make this one cohesive unit right here. So the next thing I have to do is I'm going to put a molding right here, around like a box molding right here, and then inside there I'm going to do 3 boxes, this one to echo the opening in the door here, and this one to echo each one of these side lights. So then this will be like one cohesive unit rather than this up here, this down here, and then, this no man's land in between here. All right, so what you're going to need to do these things, because you're going to have to miter the corners. This is a miter saw, and this wasn't an expensive one. This was maybe like, I want to say $110, $120 or something like that. It's a little bit small. Actually, I need to get a bigger one, but since my nephew has a bigger one, I'll tend to use his rather than buy another one. But for those of you that are afraid of that, and I understand, you can just simply get one of these little miter boxes right here. I have my tools in there. And it comes with this little plastic box here, and then the saw, and you see you can make a straight cut, and you can make 45-degree cuts each way. So if you're afraid to use the power tool, this is always a really good option. So here is the molding that I'm going to be using to make that big box that I just showed you in the drawing. And you can see this is the molding that you use around windows and around doors, because it's around the door and it's around the window above, so I want it to look all cohesive. Okay, so when you're making these boxes, like I did them all, down here as well, all in the foyer and whatnot. But what you're going to need is you're going to need a square like this. Here's a large one. And excuse that it looks rusty like that. It got caught in a flood. And this little one as well, and it has a little level on it, you can see. And then I have the big level right here. So what you're going to do is you need to measure out what the size you want, and then you can make sure that it's leveled and squared before you make any cuts in your molding, because let's face it, the molding is expensive and you don't want to waste it. All right, so I'm up here on the ladder and you can see I have a piece of the molding up already, but what I did was I measured 3 inches up from above, from the top of the door to where I want this, and then 3 inches down from the top of the windowsill down. So then what I did was I got my square and I made sure that each corner, top and bottom, was absolutely square. Then I measured the distance between this line and then the one at the top, and then I cut my molding with the 45-degree angles at the top and the bottom, and then I placed it right along the pencil line that I made. And I did that at this end, and I did that at the other end, because you want to make sure that your two ends are absolutely straight and in line where you want them. Now the next thing I'll do is I will measure from the tip of that corner all the way down to the tip of this corner, and then I can miter the two corners at the 45-degree angle and put the bottom piece in and then the top piece, and that's what I'm going to be doing now. All right, so you can see I finished that framed area on the outside right there, and you can see those mitered corners, and next will be on the inside here. So you can see I already started to draw out where I want these boxes within this box. Let me show you on that drawing again. So I finished this box right out here, this large one. That's the one I just showed you. And now I'm working on these within here. So these will echo what's going on below. This one to here, this one to here, this one to here. So the molding for the smaller boxes is this one right here. And it's actually the same molding that is on the door between the side lights and the door itself. So again, the way I like to do it is I like to do the sides first. So you can see I did this side here, and I did that side there. That box is done already, you can see right there. And I don't put the nails all the way in, just in case I have to move it. So I have the two sides of the larger box done, and what I'm doing now is I'm measuring this piece out, and I'm going to put this in to complete these smaller boxes. All right, so I also wanted to show you, because I work old-fashioned. I use a real hammer. I don't have a nail gun, even though my wife Mary Ann keeps telling me to buy one. I keep procrastinating on it. I don't know why, but anyway, what you'll need to do is you're going to need to countersink your nails. If you do something like this and you have the hammer, you don't want to bash up and break your molding. So you can get one of these things in Home Depot. I got this. This was a few dollars, and it's what you do is you put this, in the nail, and then you hammer this end, and it'll push the nail in, so that you can then fill it with, some caulking or some spackling. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to caulk all around these seams right here to make it look seamless. And you can see I'm using this DAP paintable caulking, and I started in here, so you see right in here the caulking, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I can paint it. And what that does is it gives a more professional finish to it. You don't see the space between where your molding is from piece to piece to piece. So I do that, I'll run my finger along it, and then I take a damp, wet paper towel, and then I just go over it again. Okay, so there you go. It is done. And you see it filled in that area between the top of the door and the bottom of the palladium window. And my goal was to try to make it more like a cohesive unit. So I'll take a close-up look. That scroll work right there, I got that from Christmas tree shops, and it was chippy white,
and we don't have any chippy stuff, so I painted it gold. And if you notice, it was a little bit too big, so I had to cut off 2 of those swirls and I put them in each side box. Right now I'm going to look for something else for there, but for now I wanted that in that area. And here's another view from almost upstairs, so you can see I think I was successful in what I wanted to do. I've seen this, I don't know where I saw it. I guess I saw it on television or something, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So I'm glad I got it done, and I'm happy with it. It was a little bit more work than I thought it was going to be, and it actually took a few days. I think it took me about 3 or 4 days to get this done. By the time I had to cut the wood and, you know, then put the caulking on it, let that dry, and then a few coats of paint and whatnot. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful for those of you that have that same problem between the top of your door and the bottom of your palladium window. Like always, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll be seeing you really soon. Okay, everybody, take care. Be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.